Munesato. What's in a name? What's in a name? Jeanne Munesato.
What's in a name? Does your name describe your essence? Maybe we change our name and create our own identity. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. This is a story of my dad, how he changed his name, and what it meant. He overcame racism and created his own identity, blending together two cultures, Japanese and American. He was the youngest child in a family of 6 children. He was a second generation Japanese American. This generation is named Nisei. The children were named Fumiko Yaiko, Sumie, Masahara Yutaka, and Isamu. My father's Japanese name was Isamu. It stands for courage and bravery. In junior high, the registrar thought his name, Isamu, was a girl's name, like Isabel, and he was assigned to a girls' gym class. Taking a pen, the PE teacher crossed out the I at the beginning of the name, crossed out the U at the end, leaving the letters S-A-M. Now you are named Sam. An American name, simple and easy to remember. Did this mean he was no longer brave? Of course he was. He showed his bravery by his actions. As a young man, Sam was handsome. He had thick black hair, large brown eyes, and a flashing smile. He never exercised, but he had a high metabolism, and he was always thin. Imagine if Frank Sinatra were Japanese, he would have looked like my dad. In the song, Love and Marriage, I heard, try to separate them. It's an illusion. Sam met my mom and they were married. Because of the war, they had to be separated. However, across the sea, they were joined at the heart with thoughts for each other. The marriage had to be postponed. In 1942, President Franklin Roosevelt signed an executive order that authorized the imprisonment of over 120,000 Japanese Americans, citizens who were born and raised in this country. Sam's family was incarcerated in Poston, Arizona, one of 10 wartime relocation camps. The name camp is inaccurate. Wooden shacks were drafty and were shared with multiple families. There was no privacy. Weather conditions were harsh, alternating between unbearable heat and shivering cold, and the camp was surrounded by barbed wire. It was not a vacation site. Sam was creative and liked to make things by hand. He sent a gift to my cousin Ruby, 5 years old, while she was in camp. He carved a heart from the tip of a plastic toothbrush, inscribed her name on it, and sent it to camp. Ruby remembers holding the heart, rubbing it with her fingers, and thinking how special it was because it was from her Uncle Sam. America's symbol, Uncle Sam called out, that distinguished figure with bushy eyebrows, silver gray hair, and a strange suit of stars and stripes. Pointing his finger, he said, "I want you." And my dad was drafted into the U.S. Army. He loyally fought for his country in Europe. When the war was over, he returned to a home now hostile to Japanese Americans. He was no longer the hero. He was called Jack. He had proved his loyalty serving in the Army, but the bigger challenge was gaining acceptance in his community at home. My father was silent about his war experience. He served as a role model for these values in his children. Anrio, which stands for humility, and Gamen, which stands for internal strength and fortitude. What's in a name? There are many people who change their names, possibly for the same reason, to assimilate into a new culture, or maybe they want to avoid carpal tunnel syndrome from repetitively writing a long name. I noticed affection between my mom and dad in their later years. They were always holding hands to the mall, in a restaurant, at doctor's appointments. And I told my mom, "You two are so cute and adorable. You're always holding hands." And she said, "I have to. I don't want him to fall and break a hip." Growing up, we spoke only English in the home. When my dad turned 80, I discovered he spoke Japanese. Do we reach an age when we don't care anymore what people think? My father finally felt comfortable with his Japanese heritage and no longer felt the need to hide it. I am proud of my father. He lived his life bravely, and I embrace his values of humility and strength. To quote Shakespeare, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Family values add essence to our identity regardless of the name.